If you have a large or giant breed dog, well, my guess is you have a large or giant vehicle in which to transport them. And if that's the case, you need some way to get your dogs from the ground into your vehicle. And that's what we are going to talk about today. In today's video, I'm going to give you a more in-depth look at the Heininger Twistep that we use to get Junior and Sully into our Lincoln Navigator. On Instagram, I posted a few videos of the dogs getting in and out of the car using the Heininger Twistep, and had a number of requests to do a little deeper dive, a little closer look at the Twistep, because so many big dog owners struggle with how to get their dogs into their larger vehicles. We need a larger vehicle in order to transport these giant dogs. And so with that comes typically height, right? That's the biggest concern, that our dogs are having to jump from the ground into the vehicle. And for most giant breed dogs, that's really not even something that they can do, let alone we would want them to do. So today's video, I'm going to give you a little closer look at the Heininger Twistep. I want to say on the outset, though, this is not a sponsored video. I have no relationship with the company whatsoever. I wish I did, but I don't. So this video is, I mean, as all of my videos, even the ones that are sponsored, totally all of my opinions and based on our personal experience using the Twistep now for close to 6 years. I received it for Christmas in 2016, and so have been using it for quite a number of years through Arizona desert weather as well as now Michigan weather. So quite a stark contrast. So we have seen the Twistep in all sorts of weather, all sorts of climates, and so what I'm going to share with you today is our experience with that. If you are new here, my name is Stephanie, aka Big Dog Mom, and on this channel I provide information and resources to help you and your big dog live your best life together. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining us, and I really hope you enjoy this in-depth look at the Heininger Twistep. There are other tools on the market that you can use, a dog ramp being one of them. And there are many dog ramps of all shapes and sizes that you can buy. I have used two different kinds. So the first dog ramp that we used was it has like a sandpaper surface, and I can't remember the brand of what I purchased, but I tried it, and quite honestly, the dogs never could quite get a grip on it, and so they would slide, and because of that, they never actually would get up into the car using that ramp. So that one was a total fail. I felt like just because of the way that their paws were slipping on it, even if I had more time to train them to use it properly and not freak out because they were slipping, it still wasn't going to work. So that brought me to basically the Twistep, which we have been using, as I said, for about 6 years. More recently, Junior has hip dysplasia and wobbler syndrome, which if you have been following Big Dog Mom for any length of time, you know that. So he flares up, though. He has periods of time where his hips are a little more sore than others. And during those times, it's a little harder for me to coax him into the car using even the Twistep. And so during those times, I have realized that as he is aging, he will be 6 this October, that I need another method to get him in the car. He's 235 pounds, so me lifting him in here if he refuses to walk up the step is obviously not an option. And so I purchased a new ramp to try with him, and that is this one. And this one is the WeatherTech dog ramp, and I absolutely love it. But in the first few times we have tried to use it to get the dogs into the car, it was a little narrow for Junior, and I'll show you some clips of me working with the dogs. never could quite get the hang of it at this point. He's just so big and wide that for him to walk on a narrow surface is not super easy. And the other part of it is at this junction in the middle. So this is the middle part. So as they start to walk, this bends just ever so slightly. And, you know, in watching them try to use it, it feels a little unstable. And beyond that, it shifts left and right when the dogs are trying to walk on it. So because of that, I haven't been able to get Junior up into the car using the ramp. And so again, I wanted to just give you that as sort of the lay of the land. There are other options. The Twistep is not the only one. Ramps are awesome, and for many dogs, they work perfect. I think for some very giant breeds, they're difficult. They really are, because giant breed dogs, they inherently want to feel safe under their feet. And it just takes, you know, training even from a very young age for a large or giant breed dog to feel comfortable with kind of a moving surface underneath them. And so that is why I am here to tell you the Twistep is absolutely a lifesaver, and I don't know what we would do without it, quite honestly. So let me give you kind of that deep dive, as I promised, into the Twistep. I'm going to show you a little closer up how it functions, how the dogs get in and out of the vehicle using the Twistep, and then we'll go through some of those pros and cons. So let's look at how this works. So in order to get the dogs in and out of the vehicle, the Twistep, if you want to do a closer up at the Twistep, so the way the Twistep works is that it attaches to the hitch part of your vehicle. And it comes with or without a lock. I definitely recommend the lock, but basically the lock locks the Twistep in place on your hitch. There's a key, you take out the key, you've got the key, no one can steal your Twistep from your car. But basically what happens is that once you've got this attached to the hitch, so you just basically lift this up and then you twist, hence the name, Twistep, and then it locks in place. And so that is how the Twistep functions. And then when you want to push it back under your vehicle, you lift that up and then twist it again, and then it locks in place there. So that's as simple as it gets. Honestly, it is the most genius product on the face of the planet for big dogs. But that's how it works. So you just lift up, twist, and now I'm going to get the boys out of the car because it's hot. Okay, so then all that you do then is to get your dogs out. They just step down. Good job, Junie. Good job. Come, Sally, come. There you go. And that's all there is to it. So super simple, but yep. And then when the dogs are out, hi, Sally. So when the dogs are out of the car, then we just twist it back under. And that's basically how that works. Okay, so now let's take a look at the size of the Twistep so you can see in depth how this fits and whether or not this is going to work for your size vehicle. What I will tell you is that there is a guide on Amazon. You can put in what kind of vehicle you have and it will kind of help you decide which model of Twistep you need. But to save you a little bit of time, I'm going to show you how this fits on our Navigator. So I'm assuming if you have, anything like an Expedition, a Yukon, anything like that, this is going to fit very similarly for you as it does for us. So let's take a look at the Twistep in a little closer detail. So I just want to show you what the size looks like. So from the back end of the car out, this sticks out, I would say probably maybe 4 inches. So from the back end of the car. So if you're parking in your garage and this amount of space is meaningful for you, I just wanted to let you know this sticks out from the back end about 4 inches or thereabout. So I think it is about 4 inches, maybe 4.5. The Twistep is about, let's see, what is this? Say 21.5 inches wide, about 1.75 inches or so inches thick. It sits up off the ground on our car about almost exactly a foot from the ground. So they jump up about 13.5 inches, right? So if you add the thickness of the step, From the bottom of the ground to the top of the surface is about 13.5 inches right here. And then from there, the dogs jump another, say 14 inches to get from the top of the twist-step surface onto the first step, and then they go another, you can see how difficult this is. I mean, it's quite the distance if you didn't have the step. But then they go another, say 6.5 inches to get up onto the actual bottom of the trunk there. Okay, so let me give you just a few pros and cons to using the Twistep with your larger giant breed dogs. The first big pro, as I see it, based on 6 years of use and tons of experience with it, the first big pro is portability. This one probably goes without saying, but since the Twistep is attached to your vehicle, it goes with you everywhere you go. So you always have it when you need it. You never have to take anything and store it into your vehicle. And so that, I feel like, is one of the biggest pros of the Twistep, is that you're not having to take something in and out of your car, and beyond that, having to store it with you, your family, and all of your family's stuff. So, and if you were to store it in the back with your dogs, I mean, if your dogs are anything like Junior and Sully are, the second I put even so much as a cooler back here, the dogs don't appreciate the infringement on their space. So having a ramp back here is a pretty big ask in our home. So the ramp not being ideal from a portability standpoint. So for us, the Twistep, since it's attached to the vehicle, it goes with us everywhere we need it, and so there's never any work that needs to be done other than twisting it out so the dogs can use it. So that's the first big pro. The second pro would be ease of use, and that is really, it could not be more simple. It is as simple as unlocking it, twisting it out to let the dogs get in the car, twisting it back under, and storing it under your vehicle. That's really all there is to it. The only it's not even complicated, but the most complicated part of the Twistep is just getting it attached to your vehicle. My husband did it in, I think, 5 minutes. It was really not much to it. You do want to make sure that you get that added lock so that you can lock the Twistep onto the hitch and, you know, store the key somewhere where you're going to remember it in case you ever have to take it off. But that would be my only recommendation. Just make sure you get that lock. But it's super easy to use. There's not much to it. And that really brings me to the third big pro of the Twistep, and that is it requires very little training on the part of you or your dogs. There's just not that much to it. It's a step. So if your dog is used to climbing steps, going up and down steps, that's basically it. Now, I gave you the dimensions, right? So you could see how high the step sits up from the ground. So compared to an average step, it might be a tiny bit taller than an average step, depending upon your home, but not by much. The biggest leap is going to be from the surface of the Twistep up here. But in our car, you know, we've got the back end here that kind of gives them an additional step to get up in there. So super easy for the owner and the dog. There's not much training required. I will also tell you, and I'll probably do a separate video on the dog ramp and the training required for a dog ramp. In my experience with giant breed dogs, the dog ramp has several challenges. The first challenge is with respect to what I've already mentioned, is that they're going up an incline over an empty space. And so if the ramp fluctuates at all with their weight, that can be unnerving for some dogs. And for my dogs, it is. That is something that I'm having to work with them on getting used to what that feels like, and for them to trust that ramp isn't going to move. The second challenge with the ramp is that it's narrow. And so for very wide dogs like Junior, it's a challenge to get him to walk with all four paws on a narrow surface. He just doesn't have a concept of his feet. And I know with like puppy culture, there's some other things that you can do with puppies at a very young age to get them more used to tracking with their feet, tracking on moving surfaces and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, if you're a breeder or are buying a puppy, definitely look for a breeder that is doing some of those things with young puppies. That would help you out tremendously. But that being said, I think that's one of the biggest challenges with the ramp. and in terms of training a dog to walk on a narrow surface over an empty space. So because of that, the ramp has several challenges. The Twistep, however, is just a step, so there's no real training required. The only thing I will say is that if your dog is a little unnerved by it and a little unsure, you could easily start with some conditioning when you attach the Twistep to your vehicle, introduce your dog, give some treats. Don't require the dog to immediately step up on it, but maybe just twist it in and out and give a few treats. Get the dog used to the sound of the click when it's clicked into place. Maybe even set it on the ground, and instead of attaching it directly to your vehicle, set it on the ground, let the dog walk up and down just while it's on the ground. And that might be helpful as well. And then you can work yourself up to a higher surface and then onto your car. So there's lots of things you can do. If you want more tips on that, I probably have more to say, so definitely let me know in the comments below. And certainly, if you're getting value from this video, let me know that by hitting the like button. I would really appreciate it. That helps me to know what content you enjoy. But let's move on to the fourth pro, as I see it, for the Twistep. And that is that I think it's a particularly good option, a particularly great option, if you want to know the truth, for large and giant breed dogs, especially those much bigger dogs. Based on what I just mentioned about the ramp, the Twistep is a wider surface. So I want to say our ramp is about 12.5 inches wide. So the entire surface is 12.5 inches on the inside of the railing. The Twistep, however, is 21.5, 22 inches wide. It can handle several hundred pounds of weight. Junior is 235 pounds. Sully is a little over 200 pounds. So they have no problem. I've never noticed any kind of any issues in terms of weight capacity. But like I said, a particularly great option for large and giant breed dogs in particular. So that brings me to the fifth pro as I see it. The Twistep is very durable. So it has lasted, so we're going on year 6, so we got it in 2016. It is incredibly durable. I haven't seen really too much in the way of any kind of issues with it. There is a little bit of where the rubbery surface on the top has bubbled just ever so slightly. It's just a tiny bit around the center part, not where the dogs are walking, but on the center part there's just a tiny bit. There's 2 spots where there's a little bit of a bubble. But now this is 6 years old and has been through 2 Michigan winters and how many summers in Arizona. So the weather and the sun and the temperature fluctuations that this product has gone through, it's really pretty amazing the difference between the 2 climates that the Twistep has been in. And so it has held up perfectly, and for the money, I feel like 1,000,000% is worth the money. So let me just tell you just a few cons. They're not really cons, but they are things that I think you should be aware of. So the first one is the ability to twist has gotten a little more difficult over time. Now, over time meaning only in the very recent past have we had even the slightest bit of stiffness in twisting this Twistep. Before this last year, we had no issues whatsoever. It slid out and under the car without even, I could do it with just a few fingers, just push it in and out. It was super simple. For whatever reason, and I think it's probably just the Michigan winters and the temperature fluctuations in Michigan, it has gotten a little stiffer over time. And perhaps we haven't maintained it as well as we should have. So I would say definitely, have some kind of lubrication that you keep on it, and you'll probably have 0 issues. That would be one of the only cons that I can think of. The only other thing I would say is that it's not a cheap product. Compared to the ramp, you're looking at a couple $100, a little bit more. I think the total price, I'll put in a graphic how much the current price is on Amazon, because I'm not sure exactly what it is. But if you get the step plus the lock, I want to say it might even be close to $300 at this point, but worth every cent. And now I've purchased 2 ramps that don't work for my dog. So you consider the cost of the 2 ramps, the solutions that so far have not worked, and the solution that did is less expensive than those 2. So I would just say it's expensive, so that might be a con for you. But I firmly believe 1,000,000% it is worth every dime. So with that being said, I hope that you found this little deeper dive into the Heininger Twistep helpful. If you could let me know by hitting that like button down below, and if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. If you have a large breed dog or you just want one and like this type of content, I would love to have you stick around. So with that, let me know in the comments below if you have any additional questions about the Twistep. If there's anything more that you'd like to know that I didn't mention here, or anything more you'd like to see, whether it's with the Twistep or maybe even a dog ramp, let me know that in the comments below. All right, with that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video. Bye for now. And my guess is you have a larger giant breed vehicle. So basically, Sully, you're ruining our very old jalopy car. Okay. Okay. Let's move on to...
Sorry. At the garden, I picked the cantaloupe because it was super squishy, and I tasted it in there. It was really, really, really overripe. It tasted
Overripe?
Yeah.
Okay. We're wasting video time.
Squishy.
Ready?
El bueno.
El bueno? Okay, I don't know what that means.
That means it's good.
Is good? You don't even know Spanish. Okay, and that is a dog ramp. Most people are familiar with a dog ramp. It just functions pretty simply. Ah! Okay.
Bloopers.
I know, bloopers. So all you do is you lift up this little, what would you call this? A knob?
Oh.
Okay, is it filming?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so, oops, I dropped your blueberry, Junie. Okay. Oh, what would you call that? Just like a little bit of a grip.
Plastic Chinese.
What is it called?
Plastic Chinese.
Chinese?
China-y. Plastic Chinese.
No, it's made in America. It's not plastic China. Anyway, I cannot believe you just did that, Sully.